John.
John.
Yeah.
Shemai, John.
I'm alright, mate. How are you?
Tickety-boo, thank you.
Good.
So what brings you here? What do you do?
So I'm a university lecturer.
Oh wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How long have you done that?
A few years now. So yeah. Did my PhD, graduated from that 4 years ago. And sort of, well, yeah, went straight into lecturing after that. So.
What was your PhD then?
PhD was, oh, it's going to sound so dry.
Always does.
So I'm a sort of sociology and yeah, sort of social sciences lecturer. So my PhD, I focused on sort of it. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Sort of the differences between people. It was mainly the differences that urban upbringings versus rural upbringings have on people's general outlook, and then started off very sort of close to home with that, in the sense of, you know, sort of, yeah, that thing of urban versus rural, and then it sort of became a whole rabbit hole of sort of going back a bit.
Are you married, John?
And sorry?
Are you married?
I'm not, no. But yeah, it sort of became it went back into sort of the tribal versus, so I was looking at Amazonian tribes versus, mainly in Brazil, so sort of Amazonian tribes.
Did you visit South America?
I've not actually, I'd love to. I've heard a lot, I've got colleagues who've been, I think that's sort of, I'm not quite.
Habla español?
Poquito.
And would you like a Spanish wife or boyfriend?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Or both?
A wife and a boyfriend. That might be a bit much. No, I don't know. I've not really thought about going in for one nationality.
Do you have a life plan? You know, you hear people make a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Have you ever done that?
I have, and they never really worked out. Yeah, so the PhD sort of became a 5-year plan, which all worked out really well. Sort of got me the job I'm in now, but I kind of wanted to try something a bit different afterwards.
When you came in, John,
yeah,
you dropped these broken Elvis glasses.
did I?
Yeah. You know, what are they from?
Okay, so funny story. Broken Elvis glasses. So Elvis is massive in Brazil, if you didn't know. So the broken Elvis glasses are sort of just a bit of joke that I have with the students, where we sort of pretend. It's a nice way in, and sort of getting into coming at it from a sort of cultural point of view. And Brazil's got a lot of really great music of its own, and but for some reason they're still sort of fascinated with Elvis.
How did they get broken? So you use them as a
I
project?
don't know, I found them broken.
Oh.
I can't remember where I found them. I think somewhere in the university. It was probably after some dodgy party or something. But I thought, oh, they'll come in handy. They'll be good for
And did you bring a trinket that means something to you with you today?
It's really I bought a pen, just because I tend to I write a lot. I make notes. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of writing for work, a lot of sort of grading papers and things like that. But I tend to make a lot of lists and keep a lot of notes, and sort of any sort of thoughts, keep a diary. So I've always got a pen and a notebook on me. And yeah, anything that sort of is interesting, or any sort of little thought I have that I might not want to forget, I tend to jot down. And there was a period where I tried doing it in my notes app on my phone, because I thought, oh, that would be easier than lugging around a notebook. But turns out that, I don't know, there's this weird thing of it's almost too easy, so that you sort of forget to do it. Meanwhile, having to have that pen and paper and having to sort of sit down and write.
Yeah, it's quite unusual in this day and age. Most people have a phone.
Yeah, well, like I said, I gave it a go, and I do have a phone, but yeah, it was more just kind of, it was more about, yeah, just taking that moment. It becomes quite sort of
John,
ritualistic to.
this isn't a personal question, but can you tell us about your childhood? What was it like?
It was okay. It was pretty normal, I think. Did a fair bit of travelling around. Europe mainly, again, not having to.
Did you write and keep journals and things in?
Yes, I started, I think it was my uncle who got me into sort of this thing of this sort of habit that's sort of become a bit of a fascination of jotting things down. And yeah, I think I was probably about 14 when he got me a really nice notebook, and it was kind of like, oh, it's just, I think we were going on holiday to Spain or Italy, and yeah, he said, oh, well, while you're there, have, you know, sort of write things down, like just diary, journal your day or whatever, or anything interesting you see, and it sort of went from there. So yeah, I think he was quite a big influence on that. Quite lucky to have quite a big family, I think. So yeah, I've got an older brother and a younger sister.
That's really brilliant. Thanks a lot, John. We'll round that one up.
Welcome.
Thank you. You'll go. You can do the same with Richard's. Okay. What's your name, my friend? Shemai?
Shemai, my name is Alan, and yes, I am a neurosurgeon.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Crikey, how did you manage to do that?
Well, I can tell you, first of all, it wasn't easy. It required a lot of studying, so I had to make sure I went through university and get a PhD in neuroscience and biology, because obviously it meant a lot of looking into the brain, and also a lot of also met up with a lot of psychologists as well, and gurus who looked into the mind, looked into the way the mind works and the different parts of the brain, like the cerebral cortex, which is what we do with intelligence, and the fact that the brain is associated with both, you know, the conscious and subconscious, and we go into the subconscious when we do things like go to sleep, whereas conscious is, well, like I'm using now, I'm actually using my conscious brain to talk to you right now when it comes to this interview. So it required a lot of looking into those fields.
There's an awful lot we still don't know about the brain. I mean, we know so much about the rest of the body, but we don't know much about the brain, do we?
That is true, yes. I mean, even though there is much that we do know about the brain, we don't know everything, as is probably the case for all fields. For instance, we don't know if the brain, for instance, has any places inside that can actually be remarkable and do things which we probably haven't comprehended yet. You know, we know it can tell us, like, you know, with the nerves, it can tell us when something's painful, or it can tell us, for instance, if what parts of the brain can tell us what we're seeing or smelling.
You live in Cardiff, is that right?
Yes, I do live in Cardiff.
How do you feel about Wales becoming an independent country?
Now, this is a difficult question because I've pondered about this a lot. Because on one hand, I know that where a lot of the money that comes in, I mean, because I think a lot about the NHS, and the NHS is not, we're not getting a lot of money from the government, right? Because a lot of times the government likes to focus on paying for instead bombs and blowing up other countries, as opposed to, you know, the NHS, the development of science and, you know, health. So I feel like
Alan, this fell out of your coat just as you stood up there. I was wondering, could you just tell us a little bit about?
Oh, yes, it's Blondie. Blondie at the tide of time. Well, say, I like listening to Blondie, and Blondie's a brilliant singer,
And you carry around a 45 single with you?
It's a vinyl. Have you got a little...
Why don't you have it on an MP3?
because I mean, I suppose if I was going to answer that, it's a bit of a personal thing I should probably get into. You see, my mum and dad, they divorced many years ago, and one of the few things they bought together was a record case which they put CDs on, not CDs, records on and play. So yes, it's outdated now because obviously we've got lots of technology, but I suppose for sentimental values, that's why I keep it.
Okay.
Are you married?
Yes, I am married, yes. I'm married at the moment, and I have 2 beautiful kids at the moment.
What are their names?
Eric and Alicia.
Are you happily married?
It's rocky at the moment. That's.
Have you been playing away?
Hmm?
Have you been playing away?
Playing away. What way do you mean playing away?
Well, you're happily married and you say it's a bit rocky. What does that mean?
It's not I don't hate her. I mean, I like her, but I feel like things have been stressful, because of.
So you have, haven't you? You've been having affairs.
Well, why is I'm pretty sure that's a bit of a personal question.
Yeah,
there.
but just say it.
Okay.
If you have, you have. If you haven't, you haven't.
Is this going out everywhere? This interview? It's just.
No, this is just between you and us.
Okay. All right. If this really is just. Yes, I have been having an affair.
With who? One of your students?
Well, it was a nurse in the area, in the office I work with, and the thing is, like, my parents divorced, and I remember how painful it was, and I know this is probably wrong to go and have an affair with somebody behind my wife's back. It's just there was a warmth between me and my wife. I felt like there was a connection before, but I don't know, somewhere along the lines it just seems to have drifted away. I mean, and I still love my kids, and I don't want to hurt my wife at all. I mean, she's like, she's a wonderful person. It's just, I don't feel that connection that I used to have, and this, and with this, nurse, I won't mention her name because I don't want to get into trouble, but I feel like, there was more of a connection there, and.
Well, I'm so sorry that you're in that situation, and you must have had a really hard time with being on the front line with COVID and lockdowns and everything. How was that?
Well, I got to say, my job is stressful. I mean, I've been told, I've been successful, but it is stressful, and a lot of times I barely have time for things because I'm so focused on, like you say, the COVID ward. I've been, getting in, trying to make sure like everyone's okay, like both, in terms of physically, but also mental well-being as well, making sure they're feeling good, and because obviously the COVID, it doesn't just affect the body, but also the mind as well. People could feel like you get into depression, they can really feel loss of hope and that, and I think it's important to make sure that hope does come into people during this difficult time. And also, on that subject, we've been looking into interesting research into, because obviously there's a vaccine now with COVID, as we know. I've been vaccinated twice as well. But what I'm looking into is the idea of maybe there's a cure